All right, let's get to our first topic here on Sports Talk. Of course, playoff basketball, District 3 basketball, and a big win by the Warwick Warriors over the number 3 Central Dauphin Rams. We had it on the channel last night. Eric, you and I were there for the game. Warwick gets the win, and boy, continues this run. Let's reflect on what they did in that game, Eric. Give us your thoughts after last night, less than 24 hours.
Well, the one thing that, looking at Central Dauphin and, of course, Dauphin Hill being the main attraction, leading up to the game last night, I'm thinking, okay, how is Warwick going to defend him? What's the game plan defensively? And I posed that question to Coach Chris before the game, and there was no hesitation in his voice. He said, Ryan Fink. He said, Ryan Fink is my guy. He's the guy that is going to get in his face, get under his skin, try and disrupt him, get him out of his game. You know what? It worked to a T. Now, the fact that he rolled his ankle and missed some time and came back and really wasn't the same player, but you could see as the game went on, Hill was frustrated. And you contribute a lot of that to Ryan Fink and this Warwick defense, because every time he'd get the ball in the paint, Fink was there, but then there was a weak side defender that came over and helped out as well. So Dauphin Hill got taken out of the game. Season low, 4 points. Only the second game this season he was held to single-digit points. And the game plan worked to a T. I don't think it's going to be any surprise that we're going to see the same sort of approach come Saturday night.
And we will get to Saturday night in due time, but right now focusing on this big win. Tim, your thoughts on the Warriors here continuing to win and making one of the better runs into the district tournament here in the last 30-plus years?
Chad, I just want to thank the Blue Ridge crew and you for just putting up a bunch of highlights of that game, because I was not there to see it. But one of the areas that I took from the game against Cumberland Valley was, especially when Warwick went into the overtime period, they had just seen their lead evaporate in that fourth quarter. A huge three-point shot was hit with 4 seconds left. They didn't seem rattled at all. And this team seemed very confident that despite the fact that they had a 7-point lead, it was then cut to nothing. They went to overtime. They seemed that they were going to win that game. Going back to last night then, Eric, watching the highlights and that package, it looked like Warwick was having fun out there. Some of those passes, I'm not saying it was a playground game, but they were legitimately having fun. I think 7 or 8 3-point shots. They were making great passes. And one of the things this team, there's got some young kids on it, Eric, but they're almost seniors right now, even though they may be only sophomores. They're playing well. They know where each other is on the court at all given times. And it just seems like it's just becoming very easy for them.
Go ahead, Eric. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, exactly. And, this is a team that's taken that underdog approach. I mean, they're the number 7 seed. And I'd be curious to see back through the records of the district playoffs, has a team or school ever beaten a 3, a 2, and a 1. I mean, this is potentially a historic run here for this Warwick basketball team. And, Tim's right. The contributions, and I mentioned this last night, in the first quarter, it was Avery Sapp and Ryan Fink in that first quarter. In the second quarter, it was Tate Landis and then Chase Crawl coming off the bench and dropping 3 threes. In the third quarter, Trevor Evans, solid at the free throw line, because that's when the game started. You could feel it started to turn. Warwick had to earn their points at the free throw line. They did it. And then in the fourth quarter, everybody at the free throw line. Warwick at the free throw line, I think really in this postseason, league playoffs included, when it comes to crunch time and you're put on the line, they have come through with flying colors. And that's got to be such a huge confidence boost. And again, nobody's expecting this team to win. So, they are kind of playing loose, but they're playing confident. And, offensively, defensively, they're doing everything right. Coach Christensen pushing the right buttons as far as player rotation is concerned. So, like I said, I mean, this train's rolling, and it's got a full head of steam. And I am really anxious to see Saturday night. I can't wait.
Well, you'll be there, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But you're right, as far as Warwick beating the number 10 seed in Lebanon, gain some confidence. Then when you go into Cumberland Valley's house and you beat the number 2 team in overtime, you gain more confidence. And of course, Cumberland Valley beat Central Dauphin twice this year. So you beat the team that beat the team you're facing. Then you go in and beat Central Dauphin. You've got to be riding high with confidence. And now you're going to go in and face the number 1 team. I want to show you guys a little bit of research, and someone posted an article from 1984 on Twitter last night. Of course, it was a preview for the championship game where Warwick was going to go into the District 3 championship game against Central York. Here are some of the snippets from that article on March 9th, 1984, okay? Warwick has been the underdog. Warwick doesn't have a star on its team. Few take their 25-3 record seriously. All they do is play good defense. And one more thing, they win. That was from an article written by a reporter in the Lancaster New Era in 1984, leading up to the game that Warwick eventually would go on to win their one and only district title game. Eric, when you hear some of that, and then you kind of try to correlate that to 2022, doesn't it feel very similar and have some very common threads there between 1984 and 2022?
Spot on. It's like it was put in a time capsule. It's like, all right, we're going to open it up from 1984. Here's the 2021-22 Warwick basketball team. And everything that was on that list can be applied to this year's team. Plain and simple. Yeah. I mean, yeah, okay, so Tate Landis is the focal point. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But it's not just Tate Landis. I mean, yeah, if there's one guy you want at the free throw line, yeah, it's Tate. But this team, and again, I've said it before, everybody has a role. They know their roles, but when given an opportunity to score, anybody can do it at any point in time, whether it's beyond the 3 or inside that 3. That's team basketball, plain and simple.
It is a team, and before we get into what we're here for, to talk about the Warwick and Reading matchup, I do want to give Tim Reedy a special opportunity here because he is actually very uniquely qualified to talk about this 1984 team. Tim, fill everybody in on your special connection to the one and only Warwick Boys Basketball Championship squad.
Yeah, so I needed some time to fill between golf and baseball season. So I love stats, as you guys know. And I was Coach Dave Aldhouse's statistician for the Warwick Boys Basketball team for 3 years, sophomore, junior, and senior years. And guys, it was tremendous. I was there at the old Hershey Park Stadium. Guys, my classmates such as Wes Soto and Ed Yan and Dave Greenlee. And you're right, there was no really one star, but they all worked as a team. The cool thing is, guys, I went back in my archives and I did find, now this is from 1982, but here was the district medal. I couldn't find the one I received for 1984, which was the same kind of medal, but with the blue ribbon, of course. But I did find also to that, I found my varsity letter. They couldn't put statistician on it, so they wrote manager on it. So that was really kind of cool. So and as you guys know, I went on into college to keep stats for the Penn State football team on the defensive end. So if Dave Aldhouse is out there watching, I just like to thank him because he really gave it my start, to that whole thing. But I tell you what, Chad, you always joke about how old Eric and I are. Well, it's crazy because all this Warwick talk, the last time that they won the district championship game was in 1984, the year I graduated high school. Makes me feel so old. Can't believe it's been 37 years already. 37.
Yeah.
One of the
It'll be 38.
Right.
Thanks, Eric.
I
Thanks,
wasn't
Eric, for just making it a +1.
Yeah. I wasn't sure we could thaw people out to talk about that game, but here we go. We've got one on the program right here. In 1981 and 82, Warwick went to the district title game, lost it, and then in 84 they won it, and then went on to states.
Hey, Chad, can I just interject for like 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Eric,
Yeah,
a fellow there were three managers on that team besides me as a statistician: Jed and Nate Aldhouse. So Dave Aldhouse's two boys, and that one Larry Freimeyer.
Well, that's a given. I mean, I was be the first one, I guessed.
Yeah. Hey, Larry, we miss you. And hey, what a nice roundabout here for Larry and the 84 team, and now his team going back. Hopefully they can bring it home for the Warwick community. All right, it is finally time. Let's get to it. Let's show you the bracket here in 6A for the boys. Warwick advances to the finals, first time since 1984, where they will meet the number one team in Reading. And of course, Reading is a powerhouse in this regard. And the good news is we will have this game live on Blue Ridge 11. Just finding it out today that we will have Warwick versus Reading, the District 3 6A Boys Finals, Saturday night. Our coverage will begin at 7:30. The game starts at 7:45. So, if you're not going to be part of the Warwick community that is going to pack the Giant Center, feel free to stay at home and watch our coverage from your couch with your snacks, nice and cozy. Of course, everybody else from the rest of the surrounding communities are welcome as well. Join us for that. We're excited about that. Guys, I want to give you a little bit of a taste here as to what Warwick is up against in this Reading program, a bit of a championship profile, if you will. We built this today just to give people some perspective on what Warwick will be facing. Not only is Reading the defending District 3 6A champ and the defending state champ, they've been to the finals now 32 times. They've won it 22 times, and this is their fifth straight appearance in the 6A finals. They are just a dominant program, and of course, as the number one seed, a powerhouse that Warwick will have to contend with once again. Eric, how excited are you for this? And give us a little bit of your preview here as you've begun your research for Saturday's championship matchup.
Well, I have to come clean on this. I have not started my research yet. I needed time to unwind after last night. And you know, that's an impressive board. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But on any given night, and we're talking one game, yeah, again, it all goes back to you look at history. I mean, nobody ever would have thought a number 16 seed would have been a number one seed in college basketball. It happened. Nobody thought the Cubs would win a World Series. It happened. This can happen. And you know what? Warwick has to go in with that same mantra of, okay, we're the underdog. Nobody's given us a chance. Let's go out. Let's play our game. Let's leave it on the floor. Are they going to need to play a near perfect game? Yes. But you never know. You never know. Just let it all hang out. Enjoy the ride. Have fun with it. And I can only think what would happen should Warwick win this game. I mean, I just can't even fathom the fact that beating a 3, a 2, and a 1 again, just, you know, could be something historical, obviously something magical. And, you know, I'm going to start diving into this stuff later tonight and start getting ready because I'll be chomping at the bit come Saturday.
Yeah, excited for you and Mike Straub to have that for us on Saturday. Of course, there's plenty of great scorers for Reading. I looked at it before we came on. I think at least 3 of their guys average double-figure scoring. So there's a lot for Warwick to have to shut down and kind of handle there. Of course, Warwick scored 74 last night and Reading scored 46. So Warwick can score with teams in the playoffs. Tim, your thoughts? Of course, we're there for the 1984 team. You'll get to see Warwick back in it here in 2022. What do you think of just the powerhouse program that they will have to face here?
Well, the 46 points they scored against Cedar Cliff, that was their lowest output on the year. This team's averaging over, I think, 75, 76 points a ball game, giving up 52, Eric. So, boy, that's a huge margin right there. From my quick math here, 15 or 16 games of their 26 or 27 of this year, they have scored over 71 points. They have scored over 80 about 12 times. They've beaten Daniel Boone. They scored 111 points on them. So this is a team that can just run the floor and shoot the basketball. But my assumption is that when they get into the playoffs, they play some teams that throw a lot of defense to them. And I think you're right. It's going to be Ryan Fink and company just to disrupt their big guys down low that they obviously have. Warwick, again, they have to play loose. you could say that they're on, playing with house money right now. They're on borrowed time. They've got nothing to lose. Of course, they want to win this ball game, but they can't go into this thing uptight. They can't look at the record. They can't look at how much this team scores. They just got to go out and play Warwick basketball. And I remember, if you go back to 1984, that's what Dave Althouse preached. Look, we play our game. We're not looking at what the other teams are doing. We play our game. And if you do that and you use your fundamentals and just go by what Coach Christensen has given them as far as advice and the techniques and the plays that they use, Reading hasn't seen Warwick either. So really, Reading is just in the same boat as Warwick is.
Yeah, I read that preview article in 1984, and it described a lot of the same things that Warwick went through this year. Most of the teams were high-powered offenses. They all should have beat Warwick, and somehow Warwick found ways to win, and different guys contributed in each of those games. So it'll be interesting. Go ahead, Eric. Do you have one final thought?
It's funny because after the game, I saw Coach Althouse and stuff, and we were talking about the game, and he talking about Donovan Hill, and of course, Cumberland Valley with a bigger team. And I said, even in football, you can have as big a team as you want. You can't measure heart, and there's no size to that. And if you got heart, you can overcome anything, regardless of how big, how fast, how strong the opponent is. Right now, Warwick's got playing with a lot of heart, plain and simple.
They certainly are. And to put a bow on all the Warwick conversation here, they will also have at least one game in States. It'll be next Wednesday. We're seeing that they might potentially get to host that game on Wednesday, so we'll keep you updated on all of that news. But of course, Warwick will be in action Saturday night at the Giants Center, and we will have it live for you. All right.